Hello, healthy friends. We are back, and we are still talking Microsoft 365. They are sponsoring today's episode. You can learn all about your modern desktop, your modern workplace. We're going to be talking about some modern apps here because Microsoft is pumping out some news this week. It would be one thing if they added 1 million Teams new daily users per day in the past 7 days, but they've actually added more than that. They announced this morning they've added 12 million daily users in 7
in a
days.
week.
That's a
Coronavirus is the best thing that's ever happened.
Someone at Microsoft is getting a bonus because of this thing.
Well, what's interesting is, you and I had gotten some information about Teams previously that we were, set to publish for today.
Mm-hmm.
And at the last second, they contacted us and said, actually, things have changed.
Yeah.
And in the case of Teams, for in a positive way. So it's interesting. I mean, it makes sense. I mean, that's what this app is for. Remote workers, collaboration.
Yeah,
blah, blah,
I
blah.
mean, this is their World Series right now. Like, actually, my kid's school is now rolling out Flipgrid, which Microsoft owns, and I believe they're also rolling out Teams for the classrooms.
Right.
Now, this isn't like a complete organic rollout. I believe in the like senior levels, like the high school, like some of this was already being used, but now it's being pushed down to my daughter's level. Because obviously she's in first grade and you don't always really need Teams at first grade, but
Yes.
given these circumstances.
Yes, God, let's not do this to the children.
Yes. Why is she so jaded? She's only 7.
Is your daughter, is she twitching?
Every time that Skype rings, I see her just fall over. I don't get it.
She's like, she goes into a convulsion,
Yeah. There is one
the new
feature
world
they're
order.
adding to Teams, Paul, that I desperately hope they add to Xbox Live, and I've been asking and begging for them to do this. It is the auto suppression of background noise. So Microsoft showed off a demo where some jerk was on a Teams call and he pulls out a bag of chips and he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna eat some chips," and like my blood pressure started going up because everybody's been there like that. You get that guy and they open up the bag and it sounds like World War II going
Or he's,
off
like,
in the
eating.
background, and it appeared to work. Now, there's two things that I'm curious is like how well that works, but that feature needs to come to Xbox Live. I don't need to hear some kids crying in the background while their parents neglect them, or dogs barking or whatever. But the other feature it needs like a middle finger to come up and be like, hey, tone it down in the background. Like it needs to tell the person that it's suppressing that. But it appears to work pretty well, and that's good. So.
I could go on and on about this particular feature because, I mean, I mute everybody on Xbox, but because of the stupidity of the game developers, it doesn't cover everything. So, for example, Call of Duty got in trouble years ago. It was one of the first Black Ops games. They added user-created content, and so people could create like a little emblem for themselves in the game. And people would write nasty messages or draw pictures of genitalia and blah, blah, blah. And eventually they gave us the option to turn that stuff off so we didn't have to see it. Good. But when you flash forward to the latest Black Ops game, which is what I'm playing now, they have all this like kind of like Fortnite-style dances and stuff. So you're in a lobby waiting for the game to start. And there's like a giant robot over there doing like a dance. And then there's another guy shooting like sparklers out of his, fingers or whatever. And it's like, guys, I shouldn't have to see any or hear any of that nonsense, And that's over and above the normal problems on Xbox, that I've muted, the people yelling profanities or singing to themselves between games because, they have great voices. And
I'm waiting for the tie-in here. I'm waiting for the...
Well, it's the feature you just mentioned, the background noise thing. Like, in other words, these things are all examples of the same kind of...
Gotcha.
The more that we're online, the more that we're dealing with people who are either oblivious or purposefully being annoying online. It's like when you're on a subway car or a bus or something, and some guy's watching a video with his phone volume cranked, not with headphones on. It's like, dude... Or he's talking into his phone like it's a walkie-talkie and we get to hear the whole thing. Like, this is how society breaks down. That's all I'm saying. It is. No, but it really is.
Yeah.
I mean, it's people being
get annoyed.
oblivious. Yeah.
Now, unlike you, I don't mute everybody. Well, but I say everybody. Like, there's
Well,
like a core.
but you actually played team games.
Well, yeah. Well, the people that I play with are all people I've played with for honestly probably like 10 years at this point. But we're all like roughly the same age. We all have kids and we all married and all that stuff. And so I chat with them, but like you can't get away from if you have kids. Like kids are loud and annoying. And so it'd be nice if there was a way to auto suppress that. Daddy,
Yes.
give me
Or
whatever.
they mentioned in the post the vacuum cleaner, and we're working from home, so someone else in the house could be vacuuming next door. We've experienced this on this podcast. I mean,
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, this is a crucial feature. The time has come. There's no doubt about it, and more like this. I mean, we need more. We need more features like this. It's good.
Yeah, and so there's also a raise my hand feature, which is exactly what it sounds like. You click a little button and it shows a little hand. It's cute.
It's cute, but it's also nice
It's very
for
functional.
accessibility.
Yeah,
right?
no, it's good.
So
like
for people who are hearing impaired that might not hear someone, is trying to cut in or whatever, it gives you that visual cue. It's smart.
Yeah. Or if they have a coworker who just continues to rabble on, and you really need to get appointed, and they never stop talking, and so you need to just, get your hand in there. I don't know anyone like that though, so that's good.
Oh, thank God.
Oh, what else is going on? So Apple still got their new stuff. Sony announced their PlayStation specs yesterday, which were interesting. They clearly kind of slanted some of this stuff, as any marketing company would. So they came out with, I think, 10. So Microsoft said we've got, 12 T-flops, which is raw computing power. Sony came out and said they're like 10 point something or other. But it's not really that, though. It's not. That's
even that number is inflated.
Yes,
right? Because that's like a burst speed thing.
Yeah. And so Sony made a big deal about how they have variable speeds, boosting. This is all just basic stuff that you can get on it. Intel calls it boost speed, and AMD has something named for it. So it really looks like the sustained performance is somewhere around like 9.2, which is what the leaks were saying. So it's actually quite a bit bigger. Now, they are saying that they have a faster solid state drive than the Xbox Series X, which it does. But,
okay.
That's
not...
You're pulling at things. It's like we've got 4 USBs and they've only got 2. Like you're pulling. Right.
Look, I think it's clear from what we've seen so far that the Xbox has the better specs.
Sure. It's also got a higher price tag too. I mean, unless Microsoft,
and that hasn't helped Microsoft in the past. So
right.
We'll see. The Xbox One X today is superior to the PlayStation Pro. So. Suspect they've sold more PlayStations, so
a little bit more.
Yeah.
So clearly Microsoft will have the computing edge, but I think they had to go that route, because could you imagine if they came out and said, "Hey, we know Sony outsold us 2-1 last year, so we're going to make an inferior console on the hardware side," like that. They had realistically no choice to do this.
But like you said, it's going to hinge on the price. And of course, no one's talking price yet. And we'll see. I mean, there was some misinformation from Microsoft about the release date, but, we'll see if those things even happen this year, regardless of best intentions. I mean, depending on how the coronavirus thing goes, who knows? But that's going to be that's the big piece of the puzzle for everybody is the price.
That will be the differentiator. Now, we're still waiting to hear about the other lower price console, which I still think is going to be kind of the ace in the sleeve for Microsoft here, because I suspect that that's going to be the one that most people buy, as long as it offers adequate performance. So,
well, if they're smart, they don't announce that this year, right? Like that, what that should be is a next year thing, and
potentially,
just to kind of space out the upgrade bumps and so forth. I mean, early adopters are going to want the fastest one anyway. Might as well just let it happen. And honestly, given the world condition, maybe having a limited launch for year one is smart, and hopefully we'll all cross our fingers and hope next year is better. So,
yeah, the risk, I guess, is that, let's be optimistic and say this thing kind of blows over in the next 4 to 6 weeks, and then the economy turns around really, really quickly, as it's not as bad as people feared, and then Microsoft finds itself in an awkward position. But it's not like they have any sort of unprecedented history of holding hardware in warehouses and letting them age. So,
okay. I mean, sure. And right. And if they do truly have a Series S waiting in the wings, there's no reason they can't ramp that up. Yeah.
Yep. So it'll be interesting to see. I would say we'll find out here in a little bit, but Microsoft's strategy about announcing this console has been extremely unconventional. I think it's even got Sony off guard, actually, just because Microsoft's just like, here it is. Like,
Yeah.
to them,
yeah.
it's just like, oh, it's Monday. All right, whatever.
I know. Here's some more information.
Yeah.
This has nothing to do with the outbreak. This is something that's been going on for months.
Mm-hmm.
It is very clear that what they had done in the past hasn't worked.
Yep.
And they're trying new things, and I think that's smart. So it's weird. I mean, because we've been following Microsoft or the industry for a long time, and this isn't how things are done. But when you're in Microsoft's position, I think trying different things makes tons of sense.
Yeah. So we will see. They got all that stuff out there. Microsoft Teams doing some good stuff. There's actually maybe some more news coming out today, I think. I got to check and poke around. So be looking on Thurrott.com for that one. And what else is going on in the Thurrott neighborhood? What a sweet segue that was, Brian.
Yeah, I mean, I've been kind of hyper focused on the team stuff. There was a new Windows 10 build that is not particularly interesting.
I still think there's going to be some changes coming to the Insider Ring stuff. I keep hearing that Microsoft is like looking at that again. So
I don't think that system they have right now is working at all. I don't know. Whatever. It's okay. I'm not complaining that there's no new features, right? I used to complain when there were too many features. I'm okay with that. I'm a little weirded out by the lack of information. And whatever. I could just go on. We can go on and on about it. I already have, so who cares? Whatever. They just don't communicate very well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who cares? So I don't know. I'm sort of like, we talked about Teams already, but I'm just kind of fascinated by the timing of this because we as a company are doing a series of podcasts with Microsoft about Microsoft 365. We'll be recording another one of those soon. We decided over a month ago that the next one will be about Teams. It had nothing to do with the coronavirus, and here it is, the third anniversary, and usage is spiking because of this outbreak, and it's crazy. Like, it's just, there are tons of people working from home, either full-time, who either were only working from home sometimes or not at all. And now having to deal with that weirdness. And
that's my wife. I mean, my wife literally brought a monitor home from work. Like, because she said, "Do you have any extra?" Like, not for you, but
yeah, I have a museum in here, but you can't touch them. It's interesting. I mean, my wife started working from home many years ago, but for many years I was home alone, and I remember. When she, started working from home, I was like, "Oh crap!
I gotta see you every day."
She's gonna see how little I do every day. What am I gonna do about that? She's like, "You have plenty of time to do the laundry. What's going on here?"
So funny enough, my wife brought that up yesterday. She's like, "Why haven't you ever just done laundry during the day?" I'm like,
No,
have you heard of Warzone?
Yeah, no, that's a misunderstanding, and it's just because she just started doing this. I started writing an editorial about that very topic for this week's newsletter, and I ended up writing that crisis one instead. It just inspired by some of the stuff I had seen over the weekend, and I'll probably put that out next Monday. But one of the things that's maybe not obvious about working from home that you come to over time is just the differences between the honesty of look, the reality is I'm only working X number of hours a day. So in those other hours, I can do things that might be psychologically beneficial or physically beneficial or whatever. Whereas when you go to an office, honestly, there's a weirdness to having to look like you're busy all the time. People will sit there in front of a computer pretending to work, and it's like, so it's a different dynamic. And I think that's the first thing you need to get over or understand or whatever.
Well, my wife even, I think, said, she's like, I probably only work like 4 hours a day, like at work.
But you're there for 8, right? You're there for 8. No, Andrew was talking about someone he knows who, is just, we're going to call it a traditional mindset. It's like 8 hours a day, 40 hours a week. And it's like, that tradition isn't that old. And it was a compromise from like the days of factory workers working, 80 hours a week or something. And it was, it's like you're supposed to work walk 10,000 steps a week. That number was pulled out of the air. It means it's based on no science. And this 80-hour or for 40-hour work week, 8 hours a day is based on nothing. And in fact, there's plenty of science to suggest that we should actually be working a lot less and that we will be more productive as a result. And we, especially in this country, I think have this wrong mindset that more hours supposedly spent working equals more productivity. And that's not how it works. It's not.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I agree.
So anyway, your wife will come around. If this thing goes on for months, she'll understand. And
yeah,
if it
she'll learn
doesn't,
the way
you know
of the
what?
afternoon nap.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. And right. And I think at first, if you're used to working in an office, this notion, like, I can't go upstairs and take a nap. Oh my God. Like I'm completely absconding with my responsibilities. It's like, no, you are literally doing the better thing, not just for yourself, but for your company. And
now
your
we're not
employer.
talking like
You really
4-hour naps, but like to go like take a 15-minute nap like is ridiculous. It's crazy how much better you feel.
It's the healthiest thing you can do.
Yeah.
Yep. So. You know, and we all have different jobs and have to do different things at different times and blah. You know, not everyone is the same. I know that, but you know, as Bill Burr said, and this applies to Brad and I very nicely, if you can wear pajamas to work, you don't have a hard job. You know,
that's exactly right.
God knows what either one of us have on below the waist. You know, because there's a kind of a fiction that can occur. You know, where you roll out of bed and plop down in front of a camera, and it's like, oh look, we're working.
Yeah, and I'm busy. Got to save the empire. That's the way.
Yeah.
So, all right, folks, that wraps it up for today. And today's show is brought to you by Microsoft 365. There'll be a link down below as long as you don't have your ad blocker on, because we got some complaints that people couldn't find the links, but they had ad blockers turned on. So keep your ad blocker off, and you will find that link. Catch you later. Not even kidding.
That's good stuff.